Hello there.
Hello there, troopers, and welcome back to General Kenobi's Bunker. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of the Debrief. So tonight we are switching up things a little bit because today is actually Wednesday, and normally we do our high ground show, which we will get to do, but we're going to be trying to simulcast with our brothers on the Countdown City Geekcast later on tonight for that. So I decided to go ahead and try to catch up on some of the episodes. I'm just missing one of these for Bad Batch season 2. And so I decided let's do a live tonight to cover it real quick. So this is the debrief. You're right. You read that right. And so here on General Kenobi's debrief, we like to focus on the episode of Bad Batch that showed up. So in this particular case, we're actually going to be talking about the episode from last week because, like I said, we're one behind. There's actually a new episode that dropped this morning, but we won't cover that until this coming Friday. So for today, to be specific, we're going to be talking about season 2, episode 12, which is called The Outpost. And it's actually a pretty good one. So again, guys, we're trying out some sort of a new schedule this Wednesday. So I hope that everybody's having a good mid-week, mid-work week at least. And I hope that if not, the week goes by faster. Just a quick reminder in case you don't remember, but today we had a drop of a new Bad Batch episode along with a new Mandalorian season 3 episode. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to have 2 episodes, per week. Kind of wish they were on different days though. It makes Wednesdays very busy. But you know what? I'm not complaining. So we already got our man here in the chat, LeBron Fed. What is going on, brother? Always appreciate you stopping by. Thank you so much. You are a lot of the times, the reason that we don't have 0 viewers on this live stream. So thank you. It was, this week's was, I agree. But again, so right now we're gonna talk about Bad Batch season 2, episode 12, which is The Outpost, and that's the one from last week technically. So we're if you are new here on the debrief, this is sort of the structure that we like to follow around here. So first of all, we try to go through the episode very quickly and try to hit the main plot points, right? Then after that, we will sort of go in and discuss what we thought of the overall episode, what things we liked, disliked, some of the things that are worthy of highlighting. So let's go ahead and queue up here our episode, and we can go ahead and start with the quick run through. And hopefully not get struck down by the mouse once again. So let's add it up. Here we go. Okay. So again, this episode was called the Outpost, as you can see right there. So we're going to start off. If we can cue it up here, we're going to start off in Coruscant once again in the Republic headquarters. And we see Crosshair, which we haven't seen in quite a bit, actually. I think it's been something like 6 episodes since the last time we saw him. I don't know. It's been a long time, okay? More than we should have waited. But anyway, so I like this little scene here. Of course, we open up to a bunch of stormtroopers, if you see in the background. And then we got some of these clone troopers that are being escorted by an Imperial officer, obviously not clone. And she's saying, we wish you well in your retirement. And one of the clones says, yeah, forced retirement. He's like, what are we supposed to do now? And she just says, oh, direct all your questions to the Imperial retirement bureau or something like that. So Crosshair is there. Like I said, not there you go, Imperial Information Bureau. And then we get to see so we get to see our famous lieutenant here. And he informs Crosshair that he's basically out of uniform. Crosshair just brushes it off and he's like, all right, well, we're heading to an Imperial depot on Barton 4. But right off the bat, this guy has a pretty bad demeanor. And he looks into the shuttle that they're about to board. And he says, oh, great, more clones. And he overhears the clone saying, well, it's just a field mission. And so Crosshair asks him if there's a problem with, there being clone troopers. And the lieutenant says, "Yeah, I don't like used equipment." So again, right off the bat, not off to a great start. So off they go. That's a pretty good shot of the now used to be the Republic. Now it's the Imperial headquarters, right, from the staging area in Coruscant. That's where the main ships, depart from and stuff like that. And so off we go onto a very icy planet that looks a lot like Hoth, right? So we got some pretty rough terrain, some pretty rough weather. We finally get to the depot, and it's basically everything's frozen around them. Then they get in and they get to see some of the droids, just moving some of the stuff. So they're supposed to be there to move all of those containers out of that outpost. And then we get to see our clone commander, Mayday, and he looks pretty shabby. Okay, he tells them, we if you're our reinforcements, we were waiting for you almost 2 months. Of course, our illustrious lieutenant says we work on the Empire schedule, not your schedule. So again, right off the bat, you know, he's not a very nice man. And he says, why weren't you, where are the rest of your men? Why aren't you guarding the rest of the outpost? And Commander Mayday says, yeah, they're all dead. So it's basically Mayday and two other troopers. And these guys here, as you can see, they look pretty shabby. I actually really like the way these guys look with the ragged like bandages on top of their armor. It goes to show you that their armor is deteriorated so much that they had to like basically tape it up, patch it up as best as they could. So I actually kind of like that a lot. I kind of wish we get a good figure for Commander Mayday, but not sure if it'll happen at this point. So Lieutenant saying, yeah, we need to take inventory of all of this and we need to basically start hauling it out. We're moving it. And so um, Mayday's like, okay, well, my guys can help you with that, but we've been getting attacked by the locals and they've been stealing, some of the crates. The lieutenant says, oh yeah, well, we're gonna deal with you guys then because you've been failing your mission. So once again, just pretty bad leadership skills. And Mayday, of course, asks Crosshairs like, hey, how long have you been with this guy? And he says, oh, about 2 hours. He's like, yeah, well, that sounds like too long. Um, so he's trying to, make a little bit of chit chat. Um, if you notice here, he's got all of the fallen troopers, that they've died along the mission. And they go out to check out the sensors on the outpost. And check this out. This is what I mean. Like, I kind of like the way this looks. It gives me like Dengar, vibes, like a clone trooper Dengar type of thing. So I kind of want a figure of him like that. He's all ragged. Most of his armor is patched up, as you can see, just wrapped around like bandages and tape. So they're making it work, as they can. Um, and so Crosshair is saying, hey, how come you guys keep getting attacked? What is in those crates? He says, I don't even know. Like, they just told us to guard them, and they, it's above my pay grade, basically. And then, to the surprise of nobody, they start getting attacked. There's a perimeter bridge. He gets comms that some of the raiders have been spotted inside of the perimeter already, and the alarms blare off. They go off. Crosshair gets into a sniper position, and he sees one of the guys, one of the raiders running towards the shuttle that they just came in, and of course the shuttle blows up. Right, he takes a shot at the raider and he hits him, but he doesn't fall. So Crosshair gets down, he starts tracking the guy, and then Mayday catches up with him. So they're in this cavern following the trail of blood that from the wounded raider. And so they get back because the storm's getting pretty bad. Again, you can see Mayday, hasn't even shaved or anything like that. And he lost one of the two guys he had remaining. So he's down to just one more guy in him, which is kind of crazy, right? And then, of course, the lieutenant's like, hey, you guys let two of the crates be stolen. So you guys are going to have to go out there and bring it back because we cannot lose, property of the Empire. Of course, Mayday says, hey, man, we don't got anything. It's beyond the perimeter. We got no more reinforcement. And the lieutenant says, hey, that is not my problem. I gave you an order. So Mayday and Crosshair, you guys are tasked with following and following the insurgents and finding those crates. So off they go, following to the cave. They find the body of the raider that Crosshair shot. We don't really get to see them. They look humanoid, but they are actually wearing some of the clone armor that they've stolen, allegedly. Um, and then good old Crosshair decides to step up on a landmine, and so it's a pressure trigger. Mayday says, "Hey, I can disarm it, but you know, I only got like made do tools, like some of the stuff that I've made myself, because I put in a request for tools and um, it was never approved, so I never got the actual kit." So he starts making small talk to sort of distract himself from the situation, and so he's asking, Crosshair is like, "Oh, what unit were you in?" and stuff like that. He's like, "Well, um, I'm with Clone Force. I was with Clone Force 99." He's like, "Well, what happened to them?" He's like, "Well, just they're just not here." Uh, of course, Mayday is complaining. You got some combat troopers just taking care of some cargo shipments. Like, we are being wasted here. Um, and so they sort of bonded around that. And he tells Crosshair, "I'm gonna go hide behind that big rock. You wait until I'm gone, and then you lift your foot. If it works, I'll see you here. If not, then I'm gonna hear a loud bang." Right? Sure enough, Crosshair uh, releases the trigger and nothing happens. So they keep moving on. They come out to the other side of the mountain where they see the raider like camp. They start stalking it, of course. So these are the raiders from the planet. Again, they look humanoid. I don't think we get to see their faces at any point. So Crosshair and Mayday crawl up to the entrance of the cave of their camp, and they got some of the crates and they got some other stuff. There's plenty of them, um, and of course they notice the stolen crates from the depot, and they start engaging the raiders. Obviously, between Mayday and Crosshair, they're pretty well trained, so they make short work of most of the raiders, and then they hit a power depot and it blows up. So they come back down, they find the crates, with the equipment, and it turns out that what they've been guarding all this time in that outpost is actually uh, armor, right? And I like the way that Mayday says, "Oh, we've been guarding. How come we had crates of this stuff and my guys can't get some of it?" And Crosshair says, "Yeah, that's not clone trooper armor." And sure enough, right, it's stormtrooper armor. So Mayday's like, "Really? Like, my guys have been dying just to protect some of their like newer equipment? Like, how is that fair?" And so all of a sudden they notice, they start carrying some of the crates, and then they notice that the explosion has provoked an avalanche. So the avalanche is happening. It's coming down on the side of the mountain, um, and then Mayday actually pushes Crosshair out of the way, so he gets hit pretty bad with the avalanche. But Crosshair goes back and actually starts digging him up, and he finds that he's alive, right? Pretty badly wounded, but he's like, "You know what? I'm not gonna leave you here. You help me out. Let's go." So they start trekking basically all the side of the mountain during the storm, during the blizzard. Pretty bad, pretty bad conditions, so that they can finally make it closer to the depot, to the outpost, where, if you notice, most of the personnel is actually stormtrooper, and you can tell by the way the armor looks. And so they see, they notice that um, that Crosshair and Mayday are limping back, and everybody's just standing there, like nobody actually goes out and help them. The lieutenant comes over, and you know, Mayday basically falls off. Crosshair tells him, "Hey man, like, he's badly wounded. He needs a doctor, like, now, or he's gonna die." And the lieutenant's like, "Nah, man, like, that's fine. We're not gonna waste any more like imperial resources." And he's actually like blaming them for not getting back the equipment that the Raiders stole. And Crosshair is like, he needs help, or he's gonna die. To which the lieutenant says, "Well, he's expendable, just like you." And he's like, "Get back to work, or I'm basically gonna execute you as well." So Crosshair's having pretty bad day as it is, and this is really not helping. Um, and so then he notices that Mayday is basically dead, right? And I think that snaps something inside of Crosshair, and so he points his gun to Lieutenant Nolan, and sure enough, he pulls the trigger. And so there he is. All of the stormtroopers rush him. Crosshair just sort of collapses down. But then here's a very interesting part. He wakes up, right, to some bright lights. He doesn't really know where he is. And lo and behold, he is in a sort of laboratory, an operating table or something like that. And he is being overlooked at by one of the clone scientists that we've seen before in previous episodes with the Kaminoans. And so here she is, and she's just saying, "Yeah, don't worry about it. Everything's gonna be fine." And yeah, we got you're gonna be helping the Empire. So that got pretty interesting. Not too sure why my Disney Plus is now frozen, but anyway, that is basically the end of the episode. With that, and so yeah, pretty interesting episode, not gonna lie. Even though there is not that many characters, I thought they did a good job by telling the story and portraying some of the conditions that the clones are now in, right? And so let me catch up here with the chat. I just wanted to cover the episode, like I said. um, so we got Diane. What's going on, Diane? Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate you. um, LeBron says this episode was great. It was great, actually. I enjoyed it more than I thought I was gonna. Hey, saying hi. That lieutenant was an a-hole. I agree. And I gotta be honest with you, whoever wrote him did a really good job, because this is a new character, and man, we hated him for like 30 seconds after meeting him. So very, very cool. Um, I pressed that. It's like, it looks good. I hope we get figured out. Right? They look kind of cool. I kind of dig that patching up, the armor. Custom Jedi Survivor. Yeah, that's coming up. So could be very well. Um, Yeah, so what LeBron is referencing to is that Clone Force 99, also known as the Bad Batch, is actually nowhere to be seen on this episode. They were mentioned though, but proud of Crosshair. Yeah, man, Crosshair was everybody, all of us in that episode, right? Like they were just waiting for it. And yes, I think I finally broke Disney Plus. So, I really like this episode. Okay, I really like this episode because it gives us a lot of hints as to what is going on within the empire regarding the clones. And they're not super, I guess, obvious about it, but I really like that opening scene with some of the clones being retired, and they're like, "Yeah, what are we supposed to do now?" And she's like, "Yeah, yeah, just refer your questions to the information bureau," basically saying, "I don't care what you do, you can just go away. I really don't care," which is a lot, reflecting a lot of the empires, politics and policy for the clone troopers. I love that. I love that we get to see Crosshair again. Again, I feel that it's been long overdue that we check in back with him and see what's going on with him. But glad to see him. Glad that we got this episode. I really like the character of Mayday. He was a typical battle hardened, sort of like a veteran, right? A clone trooper. And on top of that, he was a clone commander, and he very like passive aggressively follows the chains of command with that lieutenant, which I gotta be honest with you, I thought lieutenant was underneath commander, but I might be wrong on that one. So, but I could have sworn that was the case. Anyway, uh, and so these clones have been fighting and dying for basically for nothing, right? Just for some new equipment for stormtroopers, which are basically their replacements. So it's like they've been guarding and they've been dying to get their replacements some new gear. So I thought that was a little bit ironic, a little bit cruel too. Um, I really like the way that that Crosshair sort of bonded, I would say, at least a little bit with Mayday. And I was thinking about this because Crosshair used to look down on regs, which are the regular clone troopers, so non-augmented. But I actually think that the clone commander qualifies as a non-reg type of thing because one, he is about the highest ranking officer that a clone trooper could achieve. So commander was about it, was about the highest they could go in the army of the Republic. And I'm assuming it's the same here with the Empire. So there's that. So he's not your typical run of the mill clone. And on top of that, he's got a lot of experience. It seems, he's been fighting for quite a while now, and it seems like he was very active in the war as well. So I thought that was kind of cool. I thought they did a good job with setting it apart. So Mayday is not your regular typical run of the mill clone, and I think that's why also Crosshair kind of bonds with him. And Mayday was actually, trying to make a conversation. He hasn't seen anybody, friendly in months, right? His brothers have been dying left and right. He's down to his last couple of guys, and now they got this like crazy borderline suicide mission to go pick up some crates. And so he's trying to make a connection, right? And he unfortunately he gets Crosshair, but he manages to get through, right? Only in the way that brothers in arms, can communicate to each other. So I really like that dynamic. I gotta be honest with you. It seemed very organic. It seemed very natural. I think the writers did a good job on this one, to be honest. And again, we get the classic, lieutenant that's probably fresh out of school, has never seen action in his life, has no idea how to command troops, and he just thinks that just because he has the rank, he everybody needs to basically bow down to him. And unfortunately, that's becoming more and more so in the Empire, right? Like that seems to be the new norm. So I really like that dynamic too. I really like how the stormtroopers, they're like all sort of like not as disciplined as the clone troopers, kind of things like that. Okay, so overall, I really like this episode. I thought it was really good. I would not have thought that an unknown clone trooper or previously unknown clone trooper was the one that was gonna make Crosshair snap. Snap out of his conformity with the Empire or the way they run business. So yeah, I really like that. That was a little bit of a surprise. I did think he was gonna beat him up. I didn't think he was gonna straight up shoot him. And Crosshair's in trouble, and the fact that he got sent to possibly what it is Mount Tantis, or at least with the people that were there before, some of the clone scientists. That's pretty interesting. I gotta be honest with you. That opens up a lot of possibilities. I know that there were some wild theories back in season one about Crosshair being Snoke. I think this is actually a little bit step in that direction. I don't think he's Snoke, but maybe they experimented on him. Maybe he gets turned into a dark trooper, phase one. I'm not sure, but I kind of like the way they're going with this, and I have to say that this showcases the fact that I think there's going to be some sort of crossover um, theme between Bad Batch season 2 and Mandalorian. If you don't know, Mandalorian has also been dealing a little bit with some of these scientists, some of these cloners, and so it's going to be interesting to see how they tie the two together. And I think that's why they're going on at the same time right now, being released on Disney Plus. He says, "I was so sad about Mayday. I was hoping that they will leave the Empire together." Yeah, me too. But he was hurt pretty bad, and there were no ships, available to them at the time, so they kind of had to make it back to the camp. I'm gonna miss Mayday. He needs to. Yeah, I agree. 8.5 out of 10. You know what? I kind of agree with that. I can see that. This was a very solid episode. Again, they went deep into the Clone War, mentality, into the clone trooper, sorry, mentality, into their situation, right? Like what is going on with them, how they're being phased out, how the Empire does not care about them one single bit. So yeah, that's actually a good score, LeBron. I agree with that. Diane says Crosshair being a clone sounds terrifying. Yeah, right. But technically he's a clone, it's just a modified one. So I'm wondering if they're trying to get some unique genetic, samples like those cloning scientists. So do you think Bad Batch could meet Cal? Um, I think so. I think they'll be a lot older by that point, right? Because we're talking about what, maybe like 10 years after what's going on right now in this season, which would mean 20 years, for clone troopers aging. And remember, they have accelerated aging, so for them it's going to be like 20 years, but it's still possible, right? I mean, Rex fought all the way up to Endor that we know of, right? All the way up to Return of the Jedi, and that was much later. So I don't see why not. A Palpatine clone. Gotcha. Yeah, it'd be kind of crazy, right? That Crosshair gets experimented and they try to make him force sensitive. You like to see if he can take the midichlorians. That'd be kind of crazy, though. I would actually like to see that. Um, yeah, yeah, no, I got her. So yeah, it'd be pretty interesting if they actually that's the way they're going. My hat's off to them if they can pull it off. Uh, but yeah, again, very solid episode. I have to agree with LeBron. I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. So once again, we kind of get a really good episode because the Bad Batch is not in it. Uh, seems to be a recurring theme. We are getting very close to the end of the season now here. So we just had today episode 13 released. So I think we're down to 3 more episodes, if I remember correctly. So they've been doing pretty solid this last few ones. I hope that they get to finish the season strong. I think the show deserves it. But overall, even if the next 3 episodes are really good and they do a lot for the story, in terms of quantity, in terms of, yeah, if we average basically the good episodes against the not so good episodes, I think the not so good episodes still win. So yeah, I think overall the season is gonna be okay and just okay. Like, I don't think it's gonna be a bad season per se, because the high points are very high, and the low points are not that low. Like, they're not horrible. They're just kind of, they don't push the story forward anymore. So I wouldn't call them like bad, bad episodes. It's just bad to the story, right? Um, but yeah, I enjoyed this episode quite a bit, and that's why I wanted to cover it here. I should have done it last week, but last week was pretty crazy, so I wanted to catch up with it today. So in case you showed up, a little bit later today, what is going to happen is that we just finished up here the debrief for episode 12 of the second season of Bad Batch, and then later on tonight we're going to be having our regular show, which is the High Ground, but we're going to be simulcasting with our brothers of the Countdown City Geekcast. And just FYI, we're going to be talking about Mando season 3, episode 3, or chapter 19. Okay. And so yeah, we're gonna be going, kind of deep into that. So I would appreciate it if you guys stop by. That's gonna happen here in about another 30 minutes or so. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a good streaming day. Thinking Cal about, yeah. So Cal, I think so, because we know Cal was obviously part of the old Jedi Order. So right now he's still pretty young, but I could see him, show up as like a stowaway, or like one of those pickpocket, kids from the last episode or the previous one to this. It would make sense, I think. But appreciate that, LeBron. V818, are you going to Star Wars Celebration? No, I'm not. So it's in London this year, and that's a little bit too expensive for my taste. Yeah, I mean, just to get over there, just the flight is about $1,000 or more. So yeah, no, I won't be making it out to Star Wars Celebration this year. But as far as we know, Celebration is coming back to the States in 2025. So we got some time to save up and plan out, that trip. And speaking of Celebration, we got our specialist here, Star Wars Sid. What is going on, Tony? Thank you so much for joining in, man. We're just about to wrap up here, but thank you for stopping by. Congratulations on hitting 1,600 subscribers today, man. You are killing it. So, you're gonna be at 2K easily by the end of this month, and then So Star Wars Sith is going to Celebration in London, V818. So you make sure you follow him because he's being dropping some knowledge for the previous celebrations, and he's gonna be dropping videos like crazy once he gets over there. So if you want all the scoop, all of the what's going on every day, definitely go follow Star Wars Sid here on YouTube and also on Instagram. Yes, sir. You know it. Oh, thank you, man, for stopping by. Well, all right, troopers, we are here just at the half hour mark, and as you know, that's about how long we like to keep the debrief here. So, once again, just a quick recap. Very good episode. Season 2, episode 12. The Outpost is a must watch, in my opinion. I think it was a really good episode. It pushed forward the story, the characters. Finally we get to see Crosshair break basically, and show his true colors. Right, show that you know he's not happy with the Empire. Okay, he is not on board with everything that the Empire is doing for sure, and it definitely shows right now in this episode. So it took a little bit longer than I would have liked, for us to see him get to that point, but we did get there. So really good episode. Remember, the General Kenobi's debrief will come back this Friday to cover today's episode of Bad Batch. Like I said, I just wanted to have this quick stream today to cover the one that we missed last week. I don't want to miss any more. So because like I said, we only got about 4 left or 3 left at this point. And so definitely go check out this episode if you haven't. I would say check out this week's episode, the one that just dropped this morning as well. I think it was pretty solid in its own right. So, we got Rolando. What is going on, man? Thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate you, man. So yeah, troopers, we're gonna go ahead and basically wrap up here. Excuse me. And like I said, if you are not fed up with me, I am gonna be going live in about 30 more minutes, and we're gonna be covering Mandalorian season 3, episode 3. So I would appreciate it if you stop by. That is gonna be happening simultaneously with our brothers of the Countdown City Geekcast. So, without further ado, thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate each and every single one of you that stopped by the chat, each and every single one of you watching on the rewatch. Thank you for that. We have been covering all the previous episodes, so if you haven't, please make sure to go check out the rest of the debrief. Check out the main channel, General Kenobi's Bunker, where we like to go toy hunting, do toy reviews. We got a cool one coming up for sure. And so I'd appreciate it if you stop by. Oh, Eben, what is up, man? Thank you so much for being here, man. Appreciate you. So, like I said, guys, I'll probably catch you in a few minutes. I appreciate you stopping by today. Go watch this episode of Bad Batch. This one was good, okay? So yeah, go watch Mando if you haven't too, because spoilers are all over the place. All right, gentlemen. So with that, I bid you and lady, sorry, Diane. With that, I bid you good night, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a good night.